Belgium in the 19th century. The time was 1780. Belgium was divided into two different states, Austria-Netherlands and Prince-Bishopric of Liège. These both were part of the Holy Roman Empire at the time. Eventually, the areas were evidently captured by the French during the French Revolutionary Wars. Once Napoleon was finally defeated in 1815, the Congress of Vienna merged the previously owned French territories with the Netherlands. This formed what was called the United Kingdom of the Netherlands and was used as a buffer state against the French. The combination of the Dutch industrial cloth manufacturing and the Belgian manufacturing centers that contained important ports within the Netherlands promised a great growth to the economy in their new territory. However, even though this promise of a great economy seemed grand, the Catholic Belgians and Protestant Dutch began to grow hostile towards one another. One of the main concerns of the Belgians was that they were not being equally represented in the government. Tensions began to grow greater and greater when the States General declared that minority favorable vote outweighed the negative one, which in turn caused problems with the Belgian people who already accused him of attacking their religious and personal freedoms. The Belgian Revolution. On the 25th of August, 1830, the Belgian Revolution started. It was mainly made up of a large number of urban workers in Brussels. The next day, the revolutionaries began to fly their own flag. To keep structure in their rebellion, so it wouldn't fall, the revolutionaries began to form militia groups. The tensions in Brussels began to spread through all of the country, and eventually heavy fighting took place between Dutch forces and the revolutionaries. The Belgians won the revolution and a provisional government was created. They were recognized as a state on October 4th, 1830. Beginning of Belgian imperialism. Years later, after the revolution and the death of the first king of Belgium, his son, King Leopold II, came into power in 1865. His goal was to increase the country's influence and began rapid economic expansion. Another goal of his government was to regain the territory previously lost to the Dutch, used before the revolution. Before Leopold II acceded into the throne, he was still lobbying for Belgian politicians to create a colonial empire to try to gain back the resources from the revolution. These ideas were seen as crazy and not practical because of the great gamble and risk that would be part of colonization. However, when he was appointed as king, he made it his main goal to find a colony for himself. After the findings of Henry Morton Stanley, a journalist and explorer, King Leopold was set on the Congo colony. The Belgian Congo. The colony of the Congo was very different from other colonies at the time. It was owned by Leopold and not by the government of Belgium. His control of the Congo was notorious for being extremely brutal. The colony's main purpose was to increase his own personal wealth and not that of the country. The resources of the Congo, rubber trees, were extracted by slaves that were brutally worked non-stop. Once the people of the Congo became enraged by their captors, the Belgian government had to take control from the king because it was so poorly managed. This was until 1960 when the Congo became independent.